Welcome to my page. I am here to help you in your evolution. We all have some place to go. We have a purpose to serve. We have growth to achieve. What happens when we get stuck is we get sick. It's stress, it's injury, it's not looking at ourselves as fear, it's hiding, it's barricading ourselves into a corner and not wanting to breathe and live and feel. We need help. We need someone to give us a hand. We need a sunrise of space to breathe in the fresh air and experience new message, new information into the nervous system. I started on my journey with pain and suffering and confusion and very isolated. My mother used to say that I'm always fighting with my body. I have had eating disorders. I have had every way that you can punish your body. Not cutting, it wasn't a thing when I was at that age, so never experienced that, but if you can imagine it, you can name it. I never imagined that this would be my arc and this would be where I am standing and this is the way that I'm helping. Your wound does become your gift. I have all the understanding to bring to my practice, to bring to my vocation of healing. I have injured myself innumerable times. I have cracked my skull all the way through, and then with a hairline fracture all the way here and all the way back. My head almost opened in two, like Humpty Dumpty, and I had to put myself back together again. And I swear to God, if I did not have this practice, I would not be able to walk today and move freely and enjoy my body and relax my spine. I have been through it, and every time I go through it, I'm so grateful I have the skills that I have. The emotions, the learning how to feel, to knowing how to let go of emotion in the course of my life, how to feel, how to let an emotion go through me and not stay stuck. There have been cries that I've wanted to cry for 30 years that I've been holding on to in my diaphragm. And finally, it takes a fraction of a second to let it go. And I think, why didn't I do that 30 years ago? The frustration is of time lost, but it's not. It's not. And it's a gift to feel that feeling because it means you've evolved, you've gone past it, you're past that block. It's not wasted time because we're here to grow and to evolve. That's us doing our work. It's not about the messaging we're getting from media and marketing as consumers. It's not about that at all. And it's not about this imagined perfect life we all want to achieve and how we want to seem rock solid to others. It's not. It's about having foibles and failing and falling and getting up again and learning and learning and learning this lifetime. Hopefully it does add up to several lifetimes. I've experienced that to be true in people's cells, so I just still find it hard to believe because I want concrete answers, but it seems to be that way. What we are here for is to learn and grow and evolve. And that is where I fit in the world and in society and in my life and on my path, is to walk with you for a little bit, to impart some of my experience, some of the time that I have spent dialoguing with bodies and organs and cells and fluid, and talking to your body the way you would talk to a dog or a cat or a baby or a plant. Speaking of which, here's my little girl who wants some attention. So how does it work? Well, let me fascinate you for a minute. It is unbelievably enthralling. I cannot believe it exists. I was in a world where very, left brain and we're so science, imbued that, and this is science. It's just that it's an integration of the left and the right brain, and it's so evolved and forward thinking. It leaves behind in the dust any kind of, medical, unfortunately, yeah, it does. It does leave medical science behind. I mean, medical science is fantastic for really short-term emergency situations to keep the body alive, but it's not a lifestyle and it is not health. They do not study health. Pardon me for any kind of controversial opinion I might have here. I'm going to be honest and say what I think and feel. If you want to be healthy, learn about health. Learn what makes the body work. Drugs and surgery patch things up for a very short term. It costs the body a lot more in the long term. Osteopathy or osteopathy, however you want to say it, was invented in the 1870s as an alternative to drugs and surgeries. The person, Andrew Taylor Still, who invented it, was a surgeon, and he said, hang on a minute, wait, what are we doing here? He looked around in the middle of surgery, I'm sure, and said, we are causing harm. First of all, we're acting without understanding the problem. And second of all, we're causing harm to the body. We don't know what we're doing, and we're further hurting the body. Is there another way? Yes, there's another way. And so he looked at the musculoskeletal system and said that the body would function, like the organs would function better, the cells would function better if the body was in alignment. That's very, very foundational. But then over 150 years, let's just round it to that, a lot of evolution has taken place, and the techniques have evolved into looking down to the cell and the environment inside the cell. But the foundational principles are that the part and the whole work together. It's a holistic perspective, and you don't treat the symptoms. You're not chasing symptoms. Symptoms are just like, pardon my language, shit happening, things going awry. It's whack-a-mole. It's the head coming up and showing that something's not right. So you look at the whole, you look at health, you look at how can you bring that whole system back into health. It's the same foundational principles as functional medicine. So it's very right now. It's the future. It's where we're going. It's intelligence. So that's the background. That's the foundation. We're looking at health. We're looking at the whole system. We're not trying to pick apart little pieces and find the pill or find the quick fix. Build the dam here, but the water's rushing out over here. It's not a panic move. It's a holistic perspective on health. And then it gets bigger than the human being, than the one individual. It looks at the whole, looks at us in our environment. Seeing the nervous system as an interface between us and our environment. How are we communicating? What messages are we getting? How do we survive? How do we thrive in our environment? What is our intelligence about? What are the messages coming in about? I hear a lot about polyvagal theory. Really, everyone's going crazy about polyvagal theory. The vagus nerve. Okay, great. It's a nerve. It's a part of the system. It's all over the body. It's the brain-gut communication, but it's serving a message. It's telling us something. What's way more important is looking at that message. What's the message about? What is going on in the brain? What are we communicating? What are we calculating? What are we figuring out? What are we trying to tell ourselves? What do we need to know? And what is it costing us not to know? Where are we storing it in the body? Why are we afraid of looking at it? What do we need to look at in order to look at it? What do we need to face in order to look at it? How do we climb out of the self-imposed darkness of fear and trust our bodies and trust our minds and trust ourselves and grow? How do we turn our tiny little fear space into an empowered, embraced presence that can handle life, that is adaptable and strong, rooted and listening, all the parts listening. Nobody's shut off out of fear and a lack of ability to accept. How do we become stronger in our environment? What do we need? And it is a challenge because we are living such a, gonna give all my opinions here, such a lie in our environment. We are not living the way we're supposed to. We are not living, a community, a relationship between the planet and ourselves as we're supposed to, like plants. My plants here, not getting enough light. That's us. And we do need to face a larger, illness in order to really thrive and be healthy. So it's layers of awareness as we go out and as we communicate that creates health in the body. It's so simple. It's so obvious. It's not the mystery and that we think it is when you look at it through the lens of, doctors and stuff, because it obfuscates, it obscures, it makes you feel, like I'm out of control and I don't understand. What is this body doing? The body is there to serve you. The body is there. It's like your dog is there 100% for you, would never, ever trick you or have a different interest, have a different motivation other than to serve you. You are your body. You are the layers of your brain of consciousness. You are your autonomic nervous system at the back, which is interested solely in survival. Am I safe here? Do I need to flee, freeze, or fight? Or can I thrive? Can I digest and reproduce and sleep? And then the emotional brain, which is really how the brain functions. It's like the eyes, that we're not actually seeing everything. We're interpreting what's there, and we're creating images in the brain based on what we know is there. The work the brain has already done. It's very economical. So the emotions and the memories are been here before. I know what happens. I know how to react. This is what I did last time. This was the outcome. I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to do it the same. That's the emotional brain. And then the thin layer of cortex that's on top. It's a thin, tiny percentage of the brain, maybe 20% of the brain, 10% of the brain. And we identify our egos solely with that layer because that's executive thinking, executive decision making. It puts us in the driver's seat. It's ego because we think it's us. It's the part we identify with. Whereas the rest of us is the bigger part of it, is the bigger equation, like how you're feeling in your gut, what message you're getting in your gut, how your heart is responding, or how your lungs are feeling, even how your hip is feeling, where you're clenching, where you're holding. That's you. That's not your body. That's you expressing your feelings. That's your feelings. That's every single part of you talking. That's who you are. And whether you feel comfortable in this space or not, or withdrawn and want to get out, that's you. So allowing an open channel for those messages to come through serves you because that's you. You're listening to yourself. Of course, we all know this in a background way, but to hear it, like, oh yeah, that's true. That's really simple. It's really, really important to do because we are this whole totality, and it's always talking to us because we're always talking to ourselves. We're always feeling our environment, and then that goes through the layers of the brain and makes its way to your conscious brain. And something is in the body because it hasn't been able to make its way to the conscious brain. The conscious brain is the decision making and executive function that goes all the way through so that we can make a decision about it and act on it. It doesn't hang out in the body and creating stress or wherever that is. So people hold it in their shoulders, their neck, their low back, their organs. So many women hold it in their ovarian tubes, and they come in with back pain. They say it's SI joint pain, but it's the tubes down here because they're squeezed so tight. They have adrenaline receptors because that's where conception happens, and it's all about how comfortable you are, whether you're gonna squeeze this egg, this ovum, or that you're gonna nurture it and hold it till it's ready to leave. So those things, the functioning, the kidneys and the functioning of these places reflects an energy of emotion out into our lives about how we feel. So the kidneys, if they're not doing so great, they're going to make us insecure because there is something to be insecure about. Our other organs aren't getting what they need because those kidneys are struggling somehow, so we will feel insecure. And the other way around, if we're feeling insecure, our kidneys will feel that. So it's a reciprocal relationship between our bodies and our lives. And that's just us being beings here on this planet, here embodied creatures that are alive and intelligent. We are plants with locomotion. You know, we interface with our environment, with our sunshine, with our roots. That's who we are. So that's the big question: is what messaging are we holding on to, needing to project out, speak, express, or bring in and receive and process? And also, a lot of disease and dysfunction comes when the brain is unable to process. It's like digestion. The brain will digest the same way as the gut will digest. And you need to put those things, those thoughts and those feelings and the interpretations and the information we got from our environment, we need to put those somewhere in the brain. We need to store those. We need to figure out where it goes in the brain, what information that's going to hold on to forevermore to give us a coding for future times when we encounter that. So it needs to crunch that information the same way we need to digest. And we need rest and digest to do that. And if it doesn't happen up here, then it'll jump back and forth. It's stuck in a loop like a computer. It is a computer. It's a servo mechanism. And it'll jump and it'll loop, and we won't be able to let go of that, whatever it is. It's still processing. It's stuck processing in the brain. And then that is always working. And then that is always working. And then that is always working. And that is always working. And that. And so now we're a bundle of mess that can't receive any new information, that just melts down and crunches when there's new information. And then that's stress in the system going out. I can't handle this. I can't handle this. So what do? You help this process. You whoop, catch that, whoop, catch that, woo, create a standing wave. And now it bounces back and forth until finds a resolution. It comes on the same page. It goes, hey buddy, oh, I'm angry about this. Oh, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't want to process this because that means blah, blah, blah. And then they work it out. Oh, now they're chugging the same. Then this one, chugging the same. Then this one, chugging the same. And then all of it chugging the same. So we're going at this intrinsic rhythm of the cells moving, working, doing their job, everything together, working. And now, we're walking down the street, walking in the forest. Everything's good, chugging. We got a nice rhythm going. Everything's good. That's basically how it is. And it's so simple. It's not like you need this drug, you need that surgery, you need to interrupt this signal and block that and then rewrite that and overcome this and bleep, 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 making a stew, getting really complicated. Whoa, and then it's an even bigger ball of disaster and distress and disease and dysfunction. And we get so far from home. This nice chug, And that's it in a nutshell. So something's chugging away. Take a moment to isolate that and listen to everything that comes up. And the way it talks is in dream sequence. The cortex is very analytical. It's language, and it'll give you a complete sentence or parts of a sentence. You're very lucky if it gives you a complete sentence. But underneath that, it's dream, it's art, it's associative, it's color, it's memory. So it's when the mind is it's running away from you, so-called. When your mind is when you're daydreaming, and catch that, bring it back. I'm not here. Well, actually, you are here, but in a bigger here, and in a language that we need to learn to decipher and hear. So it'll be little incomplete snippets that evolve into another incomplete snippet, and to another. If you let that go without fear of losing your mind or getting lost in it, if you open your senses to it, it will bring you to this oasis, to this source, this big, pond or whatever of aha. It will be clear as day, and it'll be a memory that you forgot about. Like, why am I seeing that again? I never thought of that twice, 30 years ago, or whatever it is. But it's an association. It's like, oh, I felt that then. This is what I'm feeling now. Whoa, isn't that interesting? I had no idea. Or it's parts of this, parts of that, parts of this. But it's a message, it's a memory, it's something your brain is crunching and bringing forward to you. It's like, oh, we got this, we're gonna bring this here, we got this here, it's a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and then here you go, please look at me. And then you look at it, and it goes. It's done its job. And all of us working to get you this message is now not working anymore. It's free. Oh, I can go back to sleep, or I can relax, I can rest. It can go back to the background and chug with everything else, you know? So that's it. So we're getting messages. And health is listening to the messages and being able to act on them, or choosing not to, but that's still our choice. And disease and dysfunction, and chronic disease and dysfunction and breakdown of the system is not hearing it, is not being able to listen and decipher and decode, is not facing ourselves, is not growing, basically, is not evolving, is staying stuck. It's control, it's ego, it's not listening. So that's it. We are a nervous system with locomotion and organs that clean and filter the lifeblood and all of the other liquids. We are liquid. And then the other fascinating thing is that we are bone marrow, which is like, I always see everything in the same way in space, you know, we're these little star nurseries, you know, these little nebulae that are, you know, inside. There's these little nurseries where brand new stars are made. Well, that's the bone marrow, inside. These little nurseries where our blood is made, our white blood cells, our lymphatic, our immuno, cells, things that kill other things are made, and also the mesenchymal cells, which is a embryological stem cell that's left over from the original egg that's in our bone marrow, and our bone marrow is everywhere, even in my nose, and that creates the stem cells for the bones and the connective tissue and the tendons and the organs and everything, so the body can reproduce itself. So we are these magical, capable entities that can reform themselves and remake themselves. I heard one instance where a woman had a fallopian tube removed, and then it was seen 10 or 20 years later on an ultrasound, she had it back. The body regrew it. I mean, it's insane how we have tissue. We can knit that back. The blueprints are there in the DNA and in the brain. And so we're these incredible entities that can regrow, reform embryologically. Like the birth process doesn't stop at birth. It continues for our entire lives as we make and remake ourselves, as we grow, as we shift, as we change, as we adapt. Like a plant that's growing to the light. We are capable of growing to our light and adapting. Body's always looking for how do we adapt to that? How do we strengthen for that? How do we support that? Is what it's always doing. So we're growing, we're evolving, we're incarnating throughout our entire lives and building a structure around that incarnation. It's beautiful, it's magical, it's insane how beautiful it is on this earth. And obviously in relationship with our food, our water, our air, each other, our peace, our inner conflict, our outer conflict, the whole thing. And then bigger, our universe, our multiverse, bigger than that, whatever, the whole thing, coming back to alignment, to center, to listening and evolving. Thank you so much for listening to my understanding. I was going to say my ramble, but you know what? It's more than that. It's really what I have put time and effort to clinch and to understand, to simplify, so that we can take it back. We can take our health back. We can take our bodies back. We can empower ourselves, and I can help empower others as I empower and grow myself and take up space in my environment, in my world, making links to other worlds in this way. So thank you so much for your part in the growth and evolution of us all. We're all one in the same way that our cells are all one. And I'm here to serve you on your journey. And in the same way that I'm here to serve myself on my journey, it's together we grow and learn and evolve and become this one that we want to be. And and so how do I do it? I can sense through the screen. I can assess and I can sense where, see, I'm assessing. I have a little bit of eczema right here because of stress from whatever stress that I'm dealing with in my environment, and I can feel where that is, and I can connect the energy, and with the feedback, I know whether the evolution is happening, whether those cells are buzzing and vibrating and connecting, and we just keep doing it until there's a whole, until it's complete, until you have let go of whatever you're dragging with you, whatever you need to shed, reorganizing that nervous system, and holding space for you to make those connections yourself and do that dream walk, and bring yourself home, because you can do it, and so can I. Okay, thank you so much. Once again, I'm Aviva, and I look very much forward to meeting you and working with you and growing together. Take care. Oh, that's still filming.